The next DFW boom? Why Johnson County might be the next big growth story. Have you noticed something about North Texas over the last 30 years? Seems like every time somebody asks, where's the growth happening? The answer has always been, north. First it was Plano, then Frisco, then Prosper, then Salina, even north of Fort Worth. Every few years the growth seems to move 10 or 20 miles further north, closer to Oklahoma. If you bought property in a lot of those places 20 years ago, you've seen it firsthand, what that growth can do, not just for home values, but for the entire community. What if I told you, though, that the next chapter of North Texas growth might not be north after all? What if it's actually beginning to take shape south of Fort Worth? Now, before we go any further, I gotta make something really clear. No one, not me, not developers, nobody can predict the future for any certainty. Real estate markets change, interest rates change, the economy changes. So this isn't a prediction, it's just an analysis of the trends. And right now, there are some really interesting trends pointing toward the Chisholm Trail Parkway corridor. Let's talk about why. Here's something fascinating about real estate. Growth usually follows a pattern. First comes some infrastructure, some roads, then the developers come in, and then the builders, then the employers come, and then the stores and the retail, then the schools, and the restaurants, and eventually entire communities are transformed. We've watched this happen all across North Texas over the last many years. Think about Frisco. If you've lived in DFW for a while, you remember when people joked that there wasn't much out there except cornfields. Fast forward to today. Frisco is home to corporate headquarters, entertainment districts, shopping and luxury neighborhoods, and professional sports facilities. That didn't happen overnight, guys. It happened because the infrastructure created opportunity. And that's exactly why so many people are paying attention to what's happening south of Fort Worth. The Chisholm Trail Parkway has dramatically improved access between Fort Worth and communities throughout Johnson County. And now we're seeing another sign that planners expect that growth to continue even more. The North Texas Tollway Authority has started on a major widening project for 13 miles of the parkway from the South Tarrant County line down into Cleburne. Think about that for a second. Transportation agencies don't typically spend hundreds of millions of dollars expanding a highway because they think the traffic is going to drop. They expand them because they anticipate more people and more traffic, more homes, more businesses, more economic activity. Infrastructure is often one of the earliest indicators that long-term growth is expected. So there's one thing that's one of the biggest differences between North DFW and the area south of Fort Worth, and it's one simple thing. It's land, guys. Large pieces of undeveloped land are becoming increasingly hard to find in many northern suburbs. Developers are often having to redevelop existing property instead of building new communities. But south of Fort Worth, there's still room to grow. That creates opportunity for new neighborhoods, new shopping centers, new hospitals and healthcare facilities, new schools, new industrial parks, mixed-use developments, parks and trails, places to recreate. Developers often look for places to invest over 20 or 30 years, and available land matters for that a lot. One of the most exciting projects is called Tallgrass. It's a $1 billion planned master community planned for the Burleson area. The plan includes thousands of homes, commercial development, some parks, some trails, and approximately 1 million square feet of retail and commercial space. That's not just a subdivision that pops up. That's the foundation of an entirely new community. And that's just one example. There's lots of them. Industrial development is also accelerating. Large distribution centers and industrial parks are being built throughout the corridor. Now, I know, warehouses aren't exactly exciting to most people, but here's why they matter. They bring jobs. When businesses invest in millions of dollars in industrial facilities, people work there. Those employees need places to live. They go to the local shops. They eat at the local restaurants. Their children go to the schools that are right there. So one investment often leads to another. It's a ripple effect. Now, what does all this mean if you're thinking about buying or selling some real estate? Well, first, understanding where growth is headed helps buyers make informed decisions about where they want to live. And for sellers, continued investment often strengthens demand over time. For investors, emerging growth corridors are always worth watching. And again, this isn't about chasing the next hot market. It's about recognizing long-term trends. For investors, emerging growth corridors are always worth watching. And again, this isn't about chasing what the next hot market's going to be. It's about recognizing long-term trends. Communities don't become successful overnight. They grow because the infrastructure, the housing, the employers, the schools, the businesses, they all build the momentum together. So for decades, North Texas has been one of the fastest growing regions in the country. And that story's not ending. It's evolving. Growth no longer has to move in only one direction. And as land becomes harder and more expensive in some established markets, opportunities begin appearing elsewhere. So could Cleburne or all of Johnson County become the next Frisco? Maybe. Maybe not. Time will tell. But when I look at the ingredients that have fueled growth across North Texas for decades, major transportation infrastructure, available land, residential development, healthcare expansion, continued population growth, I see a quarter that's absolutely worth watching. But when I look at the ingredients that have fueled growth across North Texas for decades, major transportation infrastructure, available land, residential development, healthcare expansion, and continued population growth, I see a corridor that's absolutely worth watching. And if history teaches us anything, it's this. The biggest opportunities are often recognized long before everyone else starts talking about them. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that the next wave of DFW growth is heading south? Or do you think there's another spot in the Metroplex that will emerge as the next big opportunity? Drop me a comment below, and if you enjoy staying informed about North Texas real estate, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all soon.